Welcome back, friends. Software industry icon Narayana Murthy has reignited the freebies debate. He has said that nothing should be given for free. At a time when all political parties, almost all of them, BJP included, are going on an overdrive with freebies, Narayana Murthy's remark has now become the biggest talking point this election season. There is statistical evidence to show that if you indulge in this extreme form of welfarism, not keeping an eye on your fiscal numbers, then it can have problems for coming generations, even the present one. Here are the developments, and then I come back to debate.
Software industry icon Narayana Murthy has set the cat among pigeons with his take on freebies.
When you provide those services, when you provide those subsidies, there must be something in return that they are willing to do. For example, if you say, I will give you free electricity, then it would have been a very nice thing for the government to have said, but we want to see the percentage attendance in schools, in the primary schools and middle schools, to go up by 20%. Then only we will give you that.
He seemed to have touched a raw nerve, especially during election season, when parties go on an overdrive announcing freebies.
50 यूनिट जो निःशुल्क दी जा रही है, उसको 100 यूनिट किया जाएगा. उसके अनुसार 1 मई से ये बोलना प्रारंभ हुई और पहला बिल आएगा अभी 1 से 15 जून के बीच में. उसमें 100 यूनिट तक तमाम प्रदेशवासियों को, चाहे वो कितनी बिजली कंज्यूम करे, तब भी फ्री दी जाएगी.
While I am not against free services being provided, I fully understand. I also came from a poor background once upon a time. But I think we should expect something in return from those people who receive those free subsidies to take a slightly bigger responsibility towards making their future generation, their own future generation, their own children, their own grandchildren, better in terms of going to school, performing better, etc., etc. That's what I mean.
Earlier this year, Karnataka government admitted that freebies have bled the coffers.
ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಈ ವರ್ಷ ನಾವು ಕೊಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಇರಿಗೇಷನ್ ಇಲಾಖೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಕೊಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, PWD ಕೊಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಬಹಳ ಇದೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೀವಿ. ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಶಾಸಕಾಂಗ ಪಕ್ಷದ ಸಭೆ ಕರೆದು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಬಜೆಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಕೂಡ.
Are freebies economically sustainable? Let's debate.
All right, welcome back again. Joining me to represent the BJP on this debate, Sudha Halkai. She is spokesperson of the party live from Karnataka, I believe from Bengaluru. To represent the Congress view, we are having Nikhil Jain, political analyst, leans towards the Congress party live from Delhi. And we have two expert opinion panelists as well. Kishore Subramaniam, investment analyst, he's joining us live from Chennai. And I want to begin with Amirullah Khan. Dr. Amirullah Khan is an economist and research director at the Center for Development Policy and Practice. He's joining us live from Hyderabad. Very good evening to you all. And Dr. Amirullah Khan, let's set the debate. Narayana Murthy is a respected name. But is he sort of giving a very sanitized capitalist view and taking a very low, or holding the freebie culture in a very low opinion? Or there is substance to what he's saying, that this freebie culture or overstretching of the welfare economics model by political parties causes economic ruin?
Yeah, it's very important that we set this debate in its context and look at what Mr. Narayana Murthy was intending when he said this point. His point seems to be, and he says very clearly, He says that, look, he has no arguments against giving benefits. He says it, in so many words, that yes, I come from a poor family too, from a poor background, and I recognize that the state must spend on welfare. What he's doing is he's drawing this very nuanced distinction between benefit transfers and conditional benefit transfers. He's saying that, look, there is no harm in giving freebies, give them, but ensure that some other condition is met. Some good that you want people to do should also be done. Some responsibility is also given along with this entitlement that we have furnished. He takes the example of saying that, look, if we have given a subsidy for water or for power, then make it conditional, saying that you put your children to school. So there is this debate in welfare economics that's been going around for at least 50 years now. That should benefit transfers be conditional or should they be unconditional? And by now, there is enough evidence to show that conditional benefit transfers have not worked as well as unconditional have. And that's why you will see that most welfare schemes are today universal. When Prime Minister Modi announces Ayushman Bharat, he doesn't make it conditional. He makes it universal. He says that 50 crore families will get them. So, and so on, you say that we are going to give Manrega benefits to those who come and ask for employment. We don't make it conditional on how they dress or how they eat or what medicines do they take. So that is the situation where
Dr.
this
Khan
debate has become a little controversial. Yes, please.
Yeah, but you sort of self-contradict. You say that Narayana Murthy is saying he's giving a nuance that it should not be universal, it should be conditional. But then you are saying that studies have shown that conditional benefits transfer or responsibility-linked benefits transfer has had no impact. So in which case the political parties are actually right?
A lot of literature suggests that when you put conditions to benefit transfers, then the attention gets diluted. You see, if you say that here I'm giving you a power subsidy, use it for agriculture, and then say go send your child to school, then you're trying to achieve two objectives with one instrument. That never works. You have to be Arjuna. You have to hit one eye with one arrow. You cannot do two things. And that's the problem with conditional transfers. And the problem is that what we do not understand, or what we ignore in this is, I just finished this saying that policy instruments are best when they are simple, single, and measurable. You make them hit two objectives, you will not hit either of them.
Okay, let me say, they are simple. The promises being made by the political parties are simple. They are like, okay, fine, if we win, you get free bus ride. If we win, you get free electricity. And it's clear that they have costs attached to them. So before I get to the political panelists, Kishore Subramanian, would you want to add to what Dr. Khan says, that benefits transfer have to be, universal if at all, but then the costs need to be simple so that there is clarity, transparency, and it should end there, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let me add to what Mr. Khan said. So fundamentally, let us first define the issue first before getting into judgmental space. First of all, a freebie, when announced before the election, is not a freebie. According to my moral standing, that's a bribe. Let's be very clear about it. You can sugarcoat that and call it a freebie, but that's not a freebie. If it is a policy measure, now this is party agnostic. I don't care whether it is done by the BJP, Congress, Aam Aadmi Party, irrespective. If it is party agnostic and if it is a policy measure, you announce it during the course of governing. Point number one. Point number two, freebie has an economic impact. World over, it is statistically known, and Mr. Khan is an economist, he would know that when you give three things free, there is no value attached to it. It can be in a school, it can be in a college, it can be in office. Things which are given free are not valued. Point number two. Point number three, Please understand, this attaching conditions is not even practical in a country of our scale. 144 crore people, 35 crore families, practically measuring, tracking is going to be impossible. So there I agree with Mr. Khan. But let us understand, because of this freebie culture, the debt to GSDP ratio has gone for a big toss. States like Punjab, states like Kerala, despite the fact that Kerala is told to be a model where, commendable social indicators are high in parameter and stuff, but their debt has gone for a 6. Now, whether it is Tamil Nadu, whether it is Kerala, whether it is Punjab, I don't want to get into specific state or government. I want to make it a pure financial discussion. This is ruining state. And let me also tell you, this makes people lazy. Period. If you're going to give me 10 kgs of rice and a free bus ride, at least 10% of my life is taken care. Why? I'll give you some statistics which are not related to the lower class. Let's relate to the upper or the elite class. Till the mid-90s, the government of India gave subsidy for people who got educated in IIT. The fees was around $100 per year. Now what happens? These people are just exporting them to California because they get better jobs. So that was brain drain. So if you question an IITian as to why he goes to any abroad to work, whether it's US, Europe, he says brain drain is better than brain in the drain. Now, this is the kind of answers you get from people who have taken state subsidy. So it is not about class. It's not about society. We need to define freebie as a social welfare measure, as one which is done during governance, not before election. Freebie should be banned, period. It is a vote-taking mechanism. I think fiscal prudence is not applicable here. It doesn't help the country. It ruins the state. And it ruins the policy that whoever can bribe you more will get more votes, and thereby you are actually electing a wrong government. So freebie as a culture is absolutely nonsensical.
Okay.
And with due respect to Mr. Narayana Murthy, I will agree on one thing. Conditional things can be applied post-elections as a policy measure.
Understood. So strong words there. And so I take out the people becoming lazy part. You see, it could be sounding elitist, but then Nikhil Jain. And I will also take away the debt to GDP discussion from this, because then it gets technical, though I can do it, but it gets technical. Nikhil Jain, the point Kishore Subramaniam is making is that if you make these promises, let me take this discussion forward. Nikhil Jain, taking out the debt to GDP part, taking away people becoming lazy part, the fact is that these freebies promised ahead of elections are essentially a bribe. And it masks the fiscal costs that the same electorate would pay after the elections. And hence, the political parties should be a little more responsible. Respond.
I take strong objection to calling these things freebies, no matter what party announces it, whether it is the Prime Minister giving grains to 80 crore people, or Kejriwal giving free electricity in Delhi, or the Gehlot government giving free laptops to children, girl students who are performing well. I am not going to call it freebies or raveries. Let's call them for what they are. They are social welfare measures. Of course, I do agree that whatever social welfare measure any government introduces should be fiscally responsible. It should be something that the budget can account for. I just want to make a very small point on the debt to GDP ratio. That is something that the BJP likes to rake up, that the debt to GDP ratio is being destroyed. But let me point out that the country with the highest debt to GDP ratio in the world is Japan with 261%. We are still at 88%. If you look at countries which are developed, which provide a lot of good standards of living to their people, high social
Bravo, Nikhil Jain. For a change, you are praising the Modi government?
No, I am not praising the Modi government alone. I am for this concept of giving social welfare, whether Prime Minister Modi does it, whether Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot does it, whether the Dr. Manmohan Singh government during the UPA era did it. All of these measures are for the benefit of people, and we should not take away from that. So far as Mr. Murthy's point of conditional transfers are concerned, I think both the experts on the panel have already spoken that this is something which is not feasible at all. Coming to the point of when they are announced right before the elections. Now, my point is that if whatever social welfare measure, whichever party announces it, if it is fiscally sustainable, if the budget can provide it, I'm not going to call it a bribe. I'm going to simply call it a promise or a guarantee or a manifesto.
Tell me one which is fiscally sustainable. Please tell me one. Sorry to interrupt, but
you're
tell me
talking
one
about
which is
Mr.
fiscally
Yeah,
sustainable.
yeah, please do.
Mr. Gehlot, what he has done, he
So
told
far
he's
as
going to waive off the loan of the farmers, whereas the notice to the
so
farmers
far
have
as
been
fiscal
served
sustainability is
for the
concerned, there are
lands.
two elements to it. One, can the current budget account for it? Two, does that thing produce some economic benefit? For example, the Manrega scheme launched by the UPA government that put money in the hands of poor people, money that they were spending on buying biscuits and shampoos and regular household items, which increased your investment in industries, which increased your consumer economy, which moved you beyond towards a consumption-based economy, as most developed countries in the world are. So there is also that. For example, infrastructure development. A lot of people might say, why is the government spending 100 crores on building an expressway? But if
No,
you
that
look
is
at the
capex.
economic
Let's
numbers
not
on that, the
deviate.
return
That is
on an
capex.
expressway.
That is government
not,
capex.
Sir, no. I am not trying to deflect from it. I'm simply saying
In
that
fact,
when money is spent
Yeah,
in
because
a,
you
in a
are
highway,
deflecting. That
the
is government
economy,
capex.
let
Let
me
us
at
not
least,
talk
let me
freebie
at
and
least,
infrastructure
let me at least
development. They
make
are
my
two
point.
different
My
things.
point is that whatever spending a government does, whether it is on social welfare or
Let
on
me structure
infrastructure,
this.
if it is producing a
Let
return
me
in terms
structure
of
this.
increasing the economic value that is being produced, that is a good measure. Free electricity and free bus rides are
Okay.
measures to empower the poor people. A poor kid can study in his home when you give him free electricity.
Okay.
Not to all the citizens. It is
Okay,
rural
okay,
Karnataka.
okay. Now what you're saying is,
You look at
you look at the
No, 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 this is the-
madam. You look at you.
Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on,
Free
hold
electricity
on,
structure.
hold on. Nikhil, hold on. Nikhil, hold on. You made some important points. Let's process them. Now, what you're saying is these are social welfare measures. These are not reverie. These are not freebies. Number one. Second, you are saying is if they can be fiscally sustainable, responsible, why not? Number three, I think what you are saying is that they should be allowed to the extent that they ameliorate the condition of the poor. Now, my question is, number one, my response is, you said that national debt to GDP ratio of India is good. You commended the Modi government for that. Very good. But the problem is not the national debt to GDP ratio. I think the problem is the sub-national debt to GDP ratio. Because that's really unsustainable. And that's where the real governance happens at the state level. And that debt to GDP or GSDP ratio is the real problem in terms of India's governance, Nikhil. And that's why states need to be a little more fiscally responsible. But let me take this to Ms. Halkai of BJP. You see, I am going through this report which mentions that in Uttarakhand is a state run by the BJP, Ms. Halkai. And I'll come to Karnataka later. But then Uttarakhand also, the government itself has admitted that the promises that they have made has put them in a situation that the revenue is not enough to sustain capex. It's the Uttarakhand government admitting to the RBI. This is the RBI document I am reading, quoted in a newspaper report of 12th of January this year. Now, the point is that irrespective of whether it's the BJP or the Congress, if you make promises which are not fiscally sustainable, Nikhil Jain said that they should be fiscally responsible, but unfortunately in most states the promises that are being made are not fiscally responsible, as we have seen in the case of Karnataka as also Punjab. So Ms. Halkai, even the BJP does that as it comes out in the case of Uttarakhand. So can the political parties come together and sort it out?
I would absolutely agree with Mr. Narayana Murthy's statement regarding the freebies. A statesperson, a multinational industrialist, a person who has given so much to our nation, who has empowered so many people of our country, we absolutely respect his words, and it has to be taken into consideration. First thing, we are not against freebies. Yes, definitely we are against freebies that are at the cost of the development. Take the central schemes. They are not at the cost of the development. Although we are giving the freebies into all the sectors of the society where it is needed. I repeat, where it is needed. We are not giving it just for the sake of vote bank politics over here. And at the same time, we are in par with the world in all sort of development. And today the world is seeing India as one of the Vishwa Gurus, and they want to follow the Modi government. I would rather say that. Not because it is just not because they're giving the freebies. Along with that, they are keeping the interest of the people as well as the nation. now what Mr. Nikhil Jain had said that they have to give freebies. See, look at Mr. Nikhil Jain today. The manifesto what was given by the Karnataka government was a freebies for the ladies who are working and for the girl students, not like freebies to all the ladies for the bus. What has happened today? They have decreased the number of buses. There is hue and cry when they're going into the buses. There are accidents taking place. There's trauma taking place. And in all the sectors of the freebies which is given in the Karnataka, it is downsizing Karnataka. Nowhere they have empowered. There is no freebie which
So,
is
Nikhil,
empowered any of the people of Karnataka.
Nikhil, while
and
you-
one thing, just before when the BJP government was there, we were at the verge of reaching 1 trillion economy, and today Karnataka has completely derailed itself from the development. There is no one international company who wants to invest in Karnataka. All the MOUs signed by the
Miss
other
Halkai.
foreign companies, they have withdrawn it. And he's talking
Miss
about
Halkai,
Mr. Gehlot. What Mr. Gehlot
this is
has
actually-
done, he has promised to waive off the loan of all the farmers in the in the Rajasthan. And what has happened? The bank has sent a notice to the show cause notice to the farmers of the Rajasthan. Where are they supposed to go? They believe the Gehlot government is going to pay their loan. BJP party has never done like that. Even in
No,
the previous BJP party, BJP government, we have given 4,000 to the farmers, not before in hand we had promised before the elections. So you teach
Okay,
them how
Miss
to
Halkai,
catch
you
the
see,
fish.
the problem
Not
is
to-
that
no,
it's
you
become a-
just don't give them one fish and tell
The
them
problem
we
is-
are your well wishers.
Yes, that's a fantastic
not done
idea,
like
but then
that.
unfortunately even the BJP falls into that trap. Unfortunately,
Can I
even
make
the
a
BJP
short
falls
point?
into
On
that
the larger
trap.
aspect, on
Like
the
we have
larger
seen in
aspect,
the,
I have
we
told
have
you.
seen.
I have given you a very good example. I have given you an example. Yes, in our manifesto, we had told we are going to give free bus passes to the girl students and to the women who are working. We didn't tell that we are going to give free bus passes to all the ladies. And what is the condition of Karnataka today with this freebie policy? Have they realized that BJP government is something which does
Miss Halkai,
work
Miss Halkai,
to such an
this is-
extent that it
Miss
is
Halkai,
going
this
to
is
benefit
not
for
just
the
about
nation to all the
Karnataka
members.
or Rajasthan. This is about all political
is
parties, the
across
entire
India.
political
Yeah,
ecosystem.
that's what I'm saying. Look at the
Abhishek, can I
central
make a
scheme.
small
This is
point?
across India.
Nowhere
Let's
we have
not.
gone down
I
the
told
lane.
you this is
In
party
fact,
agnostic.
in fact,
People
in the
are
Abhishek,
giving
past,
can I make a
freebies
small
to
point?
60
take votes.
years, it is
Period.
only
Yes,
Let's be
during
I
very clear
agree.
about that.
government that we have reached to the third GDP
Okay,
level.
let
It is
me-
our
Miss
nation
Halkai,
which has led to
Can
the
I make a
nation.
please
short
don't
point?
monopolize.
Can I make
It
a
is not
very short
during
point?
the
Just a
60,
line.
Yes,
it
it
is
is
not
our
during the
nation.
60 governing of the Congress
Let's
government.
look at some
our
solutions.
economy has reached to the
Miss Halkai,
worldwide.
Abhishek,
please.
can I make a very short point? Can I make a two-line short point?
Miss Halkai, please.
Can I make a two-line short point? You
Quickly,
had raised the
Nikhil,
question of
before I go back to
you
the
had
economist
raised the-
quickly.
Yeah. You had raised the question of debt to GDSP ratio. Let me tell you, Arunachal is the state with the highest, which is 53%. Odisha is the state with the lowest, 13%. The median is 35%. Karnataka is less than the median. Rajasthan is more than the median at 37%.
No, you please
when the
don't
figure I
deviate
read to
by
you was
talking
of
numbers.
Japan, which was 260%.
You should have seen that.
Point
You
I'm
should
trying
have
to
seen
say-
it when the
point I'm
BJP
trying to
government
make
was
is-
there. BJP
point
government
I'm
was there
trying
in
to-
Karnataka.
No, 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 no,
We had
no,
the
no.
highest.
Do not deviate
the
with this
highest-
Why are you
statistic.
stuck
This
in
is
Japan? The
not-
OECD
do not
average
with
of
statistic.
sub-national debt to GSDP
Punjab
ratio is
very,
20%.
very,
India's
very,
average is
very
28%. Don't throw
Debt
numbers
to-
at me. We are
debt to-
discussing something
debt
more
to-
important. Don't confuse the viewer with
And-
numbers.
no,
I can throw the
no,
numbers
no.
at you as well.
Exactly what it is.
I'm fully
Exactly
prepared,
what
Nikhil.
it is. Punjab is
But
worse
we
than
are discussing a larger philosophy.
The simple
Nikhil,
thing
Nikhil,
is
Nikhil.
don't do
Nikhil,
freebies at the
Nikhil,
cost of
Nikhil,
development.
Nikhil.
GDP ratio
Pull back.
Congress is
Miss
doing
Halkai, please pull back.
vote bank politics, appeasement
No,
politics.
Nikhil, pull back.
And this is not
I said
accepted.
that I'm not getting into numbers. Because you started with numbers, I gave back numbers. Because you have again come back to numbers, I again gave you some numbers. But we are not discussing numbers. Viewers don't want that. Nobody loves maths. But people, don't understand that what they are getting now as free has some costs attached to it. That's why the RBI, for example, and even the Election Commission, and I come back to the economists now, both respected institutions, including the Supreme Court, which is, by the way, deliberating on this, they have suggested that why not the political parties make it part of their manifesto, whatever promises they are making, they should write that this is going to be the fiscal cost of these promises. This is from where we will get this money to finance these freebies. Can we do that? Mr. Khan first and then Mr. Subramaniam.
Exactly, we had asked before the elections where they are going to the
Wonderful,
Karnataka government, if at all Congress be elected, where they are going to get the money from. And today openly they are saying they don't have any money for
Okay,
development. Not even a
let
single
the
road is
economists-
constructed today.
wonderful point.
Let the economists come back on this. Mr. Khan first and then Mr. Subramaniam.
Yeah, thanks so much. I was saying that this is a great suggestion that this court has made. In most responsible countries where public policy is professionally done, what happens is that any measure comes with a very well laid out, a very well crafted paper that announces a cost-benefit analysis. That takes all the numbers, and however much we don't like math, it takes the numbers and brings out the returns on investment and says that, look, this policy is going to result in a positive ROI, so let's go ahead and vote on it. The tragedy that's happened in India, and especially recently, is that we don't discuss policy. We don't respect the parliament enough. Policies are passed overnight, and nobody wants to get into the detail. So therefore, when we talk about any major policy, and I'm really divesting it from any election issue. Elections are, the circles that happen during election. But after that, when policies are actually placed in the budget, the election promises don't make any sense. It is when they are put into the budget that the parliament or the legislature discusses.
Okay.
At that point in time, it's very important for us to get into the math. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Let me give you my
last word to Mr. Subramaniam. Last word to Mr. Subramaniam. Quickly.
Yeah, let me give you my point. The court's direction that we have to put it in the manifesto is not going to work. Do you think Indians vote by reading manifestos? Your servant maid, my worker, my office employee, your driver is going to vote basis reading manifesto and understanding financial numbers? You are not there. People vote by emotion. People don't win elections by economics. So putting it on the manifesto is not going to help the purpose. Freebie should be banned before elections, period. No questions asked. After elections, governance, there they have to justify while passing the bill that it is sustainable fiscally, and that can be debated by institutions as qualified as RBI and economists. That is a sensible solution, and not putting it on paper or manifesto. That is not going to work at all. Be rest assured, people are not going to read it. They are not going to understand. If you give them a grinder, mixie, cycle free, they're going to vote. So this is not going to work. I don't think so. It makes any logical sense in Indian terms.
On that
despite
note,
the fact that the court has the right intention behind it, it's not pragmatic or feasible.
All right.
And the moral of the debate should be that,
thank you so much.
Mr.
On that
Narayana
note, I come
Murthy's
to the end of
statement
this
should be
conversation.
considered unlike
Thank you so
the
much.
golden spoon
Thank you so much, Sudha Halkai, Kishore Subramaniam, Nikhil Jain, and Dr. Amirullah Khan for this very engaging discussion we had on a very, very important topic concerning India's present and future, which is the freebie versus welfareism culture. It's an open debate. It's going to go on. Supreme Court is seized of the matter. We'll keep coming back to it.